Hello and welcome again to another preview of the Jupiler Pro League games for next weekend, which will be game week 433 from 15th of December to 19th of December. I am here with Sibe and we will be going over all the games together. How are you, Sibe?
Let's. I'm still a bit sick, but I'm fine, I guess.
I get the feeling because I'm a little bit sick as well, but let's get into this. The first game of the weekend is Westerlo against Eupen. I am personally not expecting big things from this game. However, I do believe that Westerlo will win this game.
Yeah, I think Westerlo in a not good, but they're doing better last week's also a new head coach now, and I do think you can use players like Bayram, Madsen, Chatley, Reynolds, and Bos if he plays. I think they can do really good in this game against Eupen.
I do think that as well. Bayram, mostly. Madsen, maybe possibly forward for cap modes, because Eupen do concede a lot of goals, but apart from Bayram and Madsen, I don't see much very solid options.
Yeah, and then from the upper side, yeah, wouldn't be as any week, wouldn't be really taking any players of them. I saw that players like Paulson and someone else still had decent score like 50s, but I still wouldn't pick them. Like you have, for example, like Kadri at Kortrijk. He's also a bad player in a good player in a bad team, but his scores are good and not like don't go for players in bad teams with 50s because that yeah, it's not worth it.
I do think the only player from Eupen who looks any way possible to score high is Magné. But indeed, I would not be picking any open players. I also would be hesitant on Westerlo players, but if from any team you would select one from this game, it would be Westerlo, in my opinion. Bayram scores very well, very often, so he could, in my opinion, be in for 80, possibly.
Yeah, probably as he's doing last week's with or without decisive, without clean sheet, he shoots 60s. My prediction for this game is a 2-0 win for Westerlo.
I somehow see Eupen scoring in this game. I am going with 2-1.
All right.
So let's move on to the Saturday games. The first one, game in my opinion, which is very favorable for one of the teams this weekend, one of the most favorables for Cercle Brugge. Personally, Cercle
Yeah,
Brugge should always be winning.
yeah, they're probably the favorite in this game. In away games, I think they're a bit worse, but also still decent. Yeah, I just hope they keep winning again and don't let that loss against Antwerp last weekend affect them.
I do, however, consider that Cercle is weak in midfield lately, so possibly it could be a weekend where Leuven could grab some results against Cercle.
Yeah, I think this is the right timing to yeah to steal points from Cercle because last week what's his name Utkus again, another midfielder with an injury. So yeah, you see it kind of in the predictions here. That's yeah, sorry, data lineup projections are never like 100% right, but you see yeah Somers, Minda, Nazinho, Bo, yeah they aren't the best players if you compare them to what's yeah the main Cercle midfielders.
Indeed, Lopez injured, Abu Francis injured, Van der Brugge injured. Now Utkus was originally a centre back is injured. So the midfield looks very weak. Maybe we could see in this game finally Abu Francis return, as he has been showing signs of returning lately, but we don't know.
Yeah, I think if they return, if they have their midfield again, they are back competing for top six. But now, I do think they will win this game because yeah, Leuven is also not a good team this season. But it might be a small win, like a 0-1 or 1-2.
I am actually going with 0-2 because I do still believe in the attacking power of Cercle. Denki, Somers, Sika also is very dangerous attacking wise, even though he's a right back. I'm going with 2-0, and both goals will be scored by Denki, even.
Yeah, I saw Denki in a game against Antwerp where yeah, Cercle Brugge wasn't really performing that game, but he can just make a chance out of nowhere, can shoot out of nowhere, and he scored again, even though yeah, Cercle wasn't really good that game. So yeah, Denki really material to use in your challenger or all-star, and same with Sika, he can score really well in every game.
Denki, next to him, I would also consider Warlison. I think he might be one of the keepers this weekend which has the highest percentage of chance for a clean sheet against Leuven.
Yeah, I also think so.
I personally put him in my all-star for the weekend, so I think him
Yeah,
and Denki, and then possibly Sike could be the best options from this game.
yeah, I also have Warlison, and I don't know yet in Challenger or Cap 240, one of the priorities. So yeah, I do think he will keep a clean sheet this game.
On the other side, I don't see many options for good players. Maybe Tobeleise will have another crazy game saving, lots of chances, but I don't think he will score as good as he did in the last game, but potentially even on AA he could reach like 50, 55 points. So maybe for a capped mode he could do decently.
Yeah, I think you can still pick him up. He's a yeah, as we said, he's a young talent, and I think if he just keeps performing, he will yeah stay number one. Prevot isn't that best of a goalie. Yeah, he's a bit more expensive now. If you see the 30 days average and the floor is a lot of difference, but still, I think worth to pick him up.
At 18 euros, I also believe he's still worth picking up. Very young keeper as well. So towards the future, it's also just a good investment because he could be moving to a bigger team, or Leuven could become better in the next seasons if they don't relegate. So
Yeah.
okay, let's move on to the next one, which is RWDM STVV. For me, I think this will be a pretty one-sided game with Centrale dominating most of the game.
Yeah, I don't know why I feel it, but I really feel like a 0-3, 0-4 win for Sint-Truiden here. Yeah, against Leuven last week they choked a bit with a lot of chances, but they just couldn't score. And RWDM not in the best form, some injuries in the back. Yeah, I think they're really vulnerable in this game.
Yeah, you can also see here that the two starter center backs here are both said to be out of the squad for the weekend, and especially after their game last weekend against Gent, I really don't see them keeping a clean sheet or even see them conceding less than 2 goals in this game.
I think you can really go with some Sint-Truiden players in Challenger All-Stars, always Koita and Steukens and Delors in yeah good matchups. They also perform really well, and also like the defenders like Van Helden, Godot, Boca, and Hashioka perform really well for Cap. They have a yeah 50, 45 L15, but they can score really good. Wouldn't be picking Smets because he's a bit more expensive because yeah he's under 23 and he is a big talent.
Especially Van Helden has been performing quite well recent weeks, so he could be a nice pickup. I have used Godot personally in the past. He is always somebody who scores pretty steadily 50s, 55s, but in this game he might even be getting more. Potentially, you could be picking goalkeeper and Suzuki. However, I do feel that RWDM will score a goal, but I am not sure. So I'm quite 50-50 on Suzuki.
Yeah, Sint-Truiden isn't the best team to yeah to keep clean sheets, and I would go for defenders from Sint-Truiden, but not a goalkeeper. And Suzuki is also yeah a bit more expensive than other cap keepers and yeah same quality keepers because he's I think under 23.
I believe
Um,
he is indeed
yeah,
under
right.
23. He is
Yes.
21, so 2 more years, or even 4 more years even of under 23 utility until 2027. And at 35 euros, he might be a bit expensive. But
Yeah.
mostly, I would be focusing on Koita especially. Steukers maybe, or Delorge. I think those three, for me, jump out the most.
Yeah, also a good shout is the striker Kaya, because Zaire Rodeslam is his name, went off injured and he's out for till January. So he has a L15 of 27, 26, something like that, and he could just score. He is the size of the pennant, so if he scores, you get a 60. If he doesn't, yeah, you get a 30 score. But he's worth checking out, I think.
I do believe it indeed could be a good idea, since I have been, in my opinion, struggling for a proper striker. I don't think any of their current players is good enough for the team that they are. Both Kaya or Zahiroslam, I don't think any of them is really good enough.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah, their strikers are just not it. I think that's also why Koita and Sturgers get that many goals, because yeah, their striker isn't getting any.
I do agree. I predict this game for a 1-3, personally.
Yeah, I stay on my wild prediction. I think a 0-3, maybe even 0-4.
Then I think everything has been said about this game. Let's move on to Standard Charleroi, which is a pretty big derby in the French-speaking part of Belgium.
Yeah, it's a derby, just like Standaard Anderlecht, a bit less, of course, but it's still a derby.
And I
Don't
think it
really.
will be a very physical game. I think both teams are not good, but also not bad enough to pretty mid-table teams.
I do think Standaard will have the upper hand in this game, because Standaard at home is just, yeah, they're a better team at home, and Charleroi away is just, I think they have only one win in 8-9 away games. So yeah, I wouldn't be picking any Charleroi players, except for, as we say every week, Ilan Maharitra scored like a 60 last week as well, with a loss with his team against Union, and also Zorgan can score pretty decent for Charleroi.
I think I think it will be a pretty even game in my opinion. I think Charleroi is decent enough to cope with Standard, but again, as you said, Standard at home is pretty strong. So if I would be taking players from this game, I would either go with Ilai Marahitra or some of the Standard players.
Yeah, I think the Standard defenders do score pretty decent, like not all-star or challenger worth, but like Eliphas or Bocadi, they always score like 50s, 60s if they keep a clean sheet. So you can look for them if you think they can keep a clean sheet, which I do not think so, because yeah, Bodar doesn't have that many clean sheets this season. I think this game will end in a 2-1 win for Standard.
I am actually going to say it's going to be a 0-0 draw. But
That's interesting.
I think it will be a game that's going to be a lot of times that the ref will blow and the game is going to be still for a lot of times. So I don't think there will be like any tempo in the game. So I don't think there will be goals in this. But if there would be a goal for Sandar, you could also look at Kawabe. He could be in one of those.
Yeah, for except for Kawabe and maybe Alzate also does score pretty decent, I think. Yeah, the standard players just score crap. Like a Price, Genepo, even though they can play good at home, they just score badly.
I do agree. I think Alzate is probably their best player, even quality-wise on the pitch. Not if you don't even look at Sorare, Alzate is by far their best player.
Yeah,
So let's move on to Sunday. The final
and
four
all the big teams
games.
play.
And two very interesting games here. With first of all, Club Brugge against Gent.
That is indeed a really interesting game. The How do they call it? The Flemish Derby or something? The Yeah,
I
something like that.
think so, something like that. I
So yeah,
see.
interesting game.
I
Yeah,
think
you
I
can.
see Gent winning this. I just don't think Brugge at this moment is good enough to cope with Gent.
That is interesting, because Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this because Brugge, they are in form last weeks with not losing, keeping clean sheets, but yeah, on the other hand, they're still not really confirming that they're back at the top. They both play a Conference League, but I think they will both play with like some rotated players because they're already qualified, but Club Brugge still has to play for the first place in the group. Yeah.
I personally just think that Gent is by far the better team of the two. Could see Club Brugge doing well if they play similar to how Genk played against Gent, but I just don't see them playing that way, as I don't think they have the players to be able to play that way. So I
I
think that
think if yeah.
Gent will win like 1-2.
I think if they play again with two wingers and not with Jutla and Thiago both on the pitch, I think they have a chance because they have a lot of like Skov Olsen and Nusa. They're really dangerous players. But Gent has a solid defense. Roof tends to make some mistakes, but the defense is normally really solid. Um, yeah, you can always pick like Gent midfielders like Kums or the Saar, Hong, and their strikers as well. Kuipers and Tissoudali make a lot of goals. And for Brugge, yeah, also the main guys like Scovolsen, Mechelen,
Van
Van Aken,
Aken.
but yeah,
I would personally watch out with Gent for Tissoudali, if he is starting or not, because last game Orban played instead of him against Genk, so or not against Genk. I don't remember
against
who they played last
RWDM.
weekend, but
RWDM,
Orban played that game, so I would be
yeah.
cautious with Tissoudali. But I do agree on the rest. Kuipers, Kums, Hong, De Saar, Van Aken. I think him and Scovolsen possibly would be the best options here. If you would go for one of the keepers, I would personally go with Roof over Mignolet, because I just see the chance of Gent scoring higher than the chance of Brugge scoring.
Me personally would say go for Mignolet because I think both teams will score at least one goal. And yeah, I don't know. I have just a better feeling about Club Brugge this game. So I think Brugge will win at home with a 2-1 win.
I'm going the opposite, 1-2 away win for Gent. And what
Yeah, let's
fun would it
see.
be if we always agreed, right?
Yeah.
So let's move on to Union against Mechelen. I think this could be a very interesting game, especially if you remember the 4-0 win at home for Mechelen against Union, and they have been performing quite well under their new coach.
Yeah, could be an interesting game. Mechelen just almost everywhere. Just an interesting mid-table team can really surprise against big teams as they did at home, as you said. Union plays Europa League as well. They do have a lot to play for. If they advance or not. Um, yeah, interesting. I do still back Union this game.
I definitely rather see Union winning this game, although I would be careful with some of their starter players like a Castro Montes, like a Lapousset, like McAllister, Machida. They could be rotated. Amoura as well could be rotated after a difficult game against Liverpool at home.
I think if you look at the defenders, it's something similar like Kang is doing with their two center backs, just they play two and rotate one. Because someone asked me this day, who starts for Union, and I looked into their who played, and I think it's play and then one gets rested instead of Sykes. So Sykes plays then with two, and then the next week, um, Sykes plays with the other two. But I think if you look to the scores when they play, it's pretty obvious to see when their chance to get rotated.
I would then indeed look into that if you are interested in picking one of them. But the one player I would certainly think is a very safe option here is Puertas.
Yeah, as always.
I see Union scoring at least one goal, and in most goals, Puertas is involved somewhere, so he's always safe.
Yeah, and Puertas with their attackers as well. You see 60% only because they have a lot of attacking depth. But if Amura plays or the other striker Eckert, yeah, they're also good players to pick
I
up.
think their strikers are just all so good in quality that it doesn't even matter which one of them played, they will always be dangerous. If it is Rodriguez, if it is Nilsson, if it's Amura, if it's Eckert, they are all of them dangerous, so they will also always be a threat in front of goal.
Yeah, that's sure because Amura's on a, I think, top 5 in the goal score ranking of the league, and Eckert has also like 10 plus goals, I think. So that they have a lot of, yeah. Nilsson can also score goals. They have so many players who can score goals, and yeah, I do think Mechelen will lose this game, but you can still use some Mechelen players, I think, as a Foulon. Is he gonna play? As you said, as you mentioned a lot of videos before, he's just playing decent with decent scores.
I do think he could be injured, potentially. If he is
I
injured,
suspend.
then I'd see Van Lerbergen moving back into the center back and Cabot, as it is shown here, to the left back. So you could potentially then select Van Lerbergen. But I would
Yeah,
see last minute before the game week ends who's if Florent's back. I would potentially indeed take Florent. If he's not back, you could take Van Lerbergen.
yeah, and I wouldn't pick Hermans or Scholes. They're decent scorers, but this game, yeah, Union don't keep a clean sheet. As we said many times before, they always concede one last week as well against Charleroi in the, I think, last minute or something. So yeah, Hermans or Scholes could get away with a decisive, but yeah, it's a risk.
You could always take Scholes because he can also just score a long shot or from a free kick or something like that, or give an assist from a free kick, as he is very good on dead balls, as you can see here as well this season. 6 goals, 4 assists. That I can see here, Mechelen have not scored in their last 2 games, which were both against very tough opponents. So it could be that Union keeps their first clean sheet in a long time in this game.
Yeah, but my prediction is still that Union wouldn't keep a clean sheet. I don't know, they're just the Genk of last year who couldn't keep a clean sheet, I think. And yeah, Mechelen, they do score almost every game, I believe. Um, and I think it will be a 3-1 win for Union at home.
I am also gonna say 3-1 for Union at home. Now, the second to last game of this weekend is another very interesting game. Antwerp against Anderlecht. Anderlecht, who has been, apart from the start of the season, one of the best teams in the league. And Antwerp, who have shown signs of becoming better recently.
Yeah, and I do think Antwerp is getting back up there because they were struggling at the beginning, but now they're back up there with the other top teams. And yeah, Anderlecht second in the league. They're just playing consistently against lower table teams. But I saw this stat on Twitter this morning that Anderlecht has 7 out of 21 points on from the top 6 teams. So they're just consistent against the lower table teams, but against the better teams they struggle a bit.
I could see how that works indeed. Uh, I have not found Anderlecht to be so amazingly good as they people are telling them to be, and I also just think, for me, Antwerp is winning this game because I just see them as the better team at home, very dangerous at home with their side backing them. Keita being back also really helps them, as you could see in the last game.
Yeah, Antwerp at home. I think they're one of the 2, 3 teams who hasn't lost a home game this season. So I do think Antwerp will win this game. And yeah, you can pick a lot of players from this matchup to be honest, because I think there will be some goals in this game. So you can pick like a from Anderlecht, Dreyer, Dolberg, Hazard if he's back fit, Struikens, Vertongen, Augustinsson, they all score good. And from Antwerp, yeah, Koulibaly, all the scores are a bit less last week, but like Ekkelenkamp or Janssen also.
I do agree, especially Janssen is always a nice pick for cap 240 or cap 220 because he still has a pretty low L15. I think Keita is also a really interesting one as he still has a very low L15 because of his injury now. Indeed, he's 40, so for a cap mode, he could be very interesting. As you can see here as well, in only 40 minutes against Barcelona, already 47. In the win against Cercle, he had a 60, so he could be a very interesting one for your cap modes.
Yeah, I don't think we say that a lot of games, but yeah, this game's just a lot of people you can use in your Sorare lineups.
I think you should not go for any of the two keepers. Probably they will both score, in my opinion.
Yeah, as I said, I do think like at least both teams to score, and then my prediction for this game is a 2-1 win for Antwerp. Could also be both teams scoring like 2 goals, but don't know how I feel about that.
I personally do think it's gonna be a 2-2. I think I think none of their teams at the moment in quality and form. I don't think one of the both is better than the other. I think they're quite even. So I do think a draw.
Yes.
So let's move on to the last game of the weekend, which is, of course, our club, Genk, playing against Kortrijk, the last in the league, which could be a very, very interesting game to pick players from.
Yeah, I think Kortrijk, the worst team of the league, last week also lost against Wessel. So yeah, I do think Genk will win this game easily, and I think the Genk stack could be really good here with yeah, people like Munoz who's struggling last week, but I think he will come back with like 80 plus scores. And Painsol last 2 weeks is decisive. You also saw that in his price going up. So yeah, Munoz and then Heine scoring decent, Alcanu scoring decent could be a really nice stack for this game.
Potentially also the center backs, they will probably have a lot of possession and have a lot of passes into the final third, into the box. Heine could have an important role to play. I think El Canoes as well could be very interesting. Possibly an assist or a goal, rather an assist in that case, but I think he could be an important player in this game.
They still play Conference League, of course, so you'll have to see a bit if someone gets injured or not. But yeah, players like Munoz, who's suspended, is certain to play. But yeah, the other back, of course, Arteaga of Kayembe or Kayembe, you just have to see who starts in the midweek. And then, yeah, Sora and Fadira are also really good options. They scored good last week, but yeah, it is still a risk. But Sor, as I said in the last preview on my channel, yeah, he has an L15 of 30, 40 still, and he scored last 2 games he started. So if he starts, which I do think if he doesn't play midweek, he's a really good option.
I do agree. If he starts in the midweek, we could potentially see Ahokotari or Zakiri start in this game. However, I do believe that Fadira, as he is shown here as a starter, but I don't believe he's going to be a starter in this game. I do think he's going to play against Kukariki, and that Bonsuba is going to return in this game.
Yeah,
However,
we'll just have to see who plays midweek, and then the other winger will probably play in the weekend.
indeed, and although I do believe that Fadira is finally starting to shine through, um, he has been quite good in the last games. I've really been liking him.
Yeah, now the wingers are back up again. I think, yeah, it's looking really good for them. As I said it multiple times, Paintsel looking back in old form, and yeah, Fadira and Bonsu both performing pretty decent.
On the capped mode side of things, you could be going with Heine, you could be going with Grozowski, you could be going with Arteaga, especially is, in my opinion, a very interesting option as he has, I believe, 42 of L15 or 45, still pretty low. He could score a 60.
Yeah, Arteaga is a really underrated option because I have both Kayembe and Arteaga, and it's pretty predictable who plays. So I just almost every time play one of them because in an easy game they always shoot like a 60 plus.
I have to say I have them both as well, and I do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And on the Cortex side of things, the only player you could in any way or shape pick is Kadri. I think for the rest they're just way too poor.
Yeah, that's just Kortrijk. You said it well.
So one other player who is still an interesting option, but I would not pick him in this game is, as always, Marco Canam, loanee from Anderlecht.
Yeah, he played center midfielder last week against Vestel, I believe, because Radovanovic is back. So you have to see where he plays, but his score in the midfield is also great, so it doesn't really matter for him.
And I think apart from that, everything has been said about his game. And
The prediction?
indeed, Munoz is not gonna play midweek, so if you don't see him play, don't worry. He is gonna be back at the weekend.
Yeah. So
So
quick prediction for Genk was my prediction is a 3-1 win. Still
I
Kortrijk to
am
score.
I am going with a 2-0, as I do still think Genk struggles to score, but I do think they are finally gonna keep a clean sheet against Kortrijk, who are not that good. And I think that was everything for this weekend. I hope you
Maybe
guys. Sorry?
maybe a quick mention that there's now a Jupiler Pro League special weekly on Sorare, limited and rare. You can win like signed shirts, match tickets. So that's pretty nice. They do it also for the smaller leagues.
I do agree. I have been thinking about playing it, but I did not, because I don't really need one of the shirts or tickets, as I'm already a season ticket holder of Genk.
Yeah, same. Because if I get a Anderlecht or Club Brugge signed shirt, like, what am I gonna do with it? I mean, it's cool, but yeah.
I would burn it. And also a quick noteworthy thing is that after this game week of the weekend, the next 3 game weeks will have the next match day will be split over the course of the next 3 game weeks, with the midweek having a couple games, then the weekend having another couple games, and then another couple of games will be played in the midweek again. So do take note of that, and don't randomly go looking for players. And that
Yeah.
was it for this game week. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you again on the preview on Cbus channel, who will be linked below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and bye.
Bye.